Welcome to LifeBlood. This is George G, and the time is right. Welcome to today's guest, strong and powerful Rick West. Rick, are you ready to do this?
And we are ready to do this. I'm excited.
We are ready to do this. Rick is the CEO and co-founder of Field Agent. They are an on-demand tech company built for winning at retail, connecting brands to shoppers, enabling brands to capture in-store information, gain insight, and drive product trials on demand. Rick, I'm excited to have you on. Tell us a little bit about your personal life, some more about your work, and why you do what you do.
Yeah, so I start out by telling people in very few times when your podcasters, are listening to this, I am a cross between Hillbilly Elegy and Friday Night Lights. So I'm not sure how many people from Appalachia you have on your call. Probably not many. How many people that can say that they grew up a hillbilly in a holler in Kentucky? And I take that from my childhood all the way to now I'm a CEO of a tech company and I've lived all over the world and my life has completely changed. But I give you that beginning of who I am to say that the culture that made me still kind of goes through my veins and follows me today. And we'll talk a little bit about, what that means from a work ethic standpoint, from a loyalty and what it means to who I am. But if you fast forward a little bit, personally for me, I'm a husband of one, father of three, granddad to two. That's a little bit about who I am. I spend most of my time chasing grandkids now, which is fantastic. The other side of this, I manage a tech company. And so I've got 100 employees and a bunch of them are under the age of 30. So I'm driving the Gen Z millennial thing, and we're really trying to change the way the world engages at retail.
Oh, I appreciate that. So y'all have been around for 10 plus years.
Yeah. It's I tell people we're a 12-year overnight success.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we're theoretically speaking coming out of the pandemic, which doesn't seem like it would be perfect for your for what you do. Coming out, yes, but surviving there.
No, we're sorry. For a very basic standpoint, that there's two facets to what we do. There's the agent or the user of our app. And that's where people can make a little bit extra cash. So while you're shopping, while you're engaging, you could take a photo inside of a store. You could answer some questions to do a survey and do some research, or you could buy products and try them and tell us about your experience or do a rating, some review. And so if you look at the breadth of that from a user standpoint, during COVID, we're one of the few companies that still had people going inside of retail because people still needed to shop. And you really couldn't justify sending in a third party because of COVID. So if you wanted eyes inside of a store, we're really the only game in town. Now, that being said, because of COVID and supply chain issues, our mystery shopping research business was impacted more significantly because retailers and brands are saying, I really don't care what people think right now. I'm just trying to get things on the shelf. Mm-hmm. So then our quantitative, was the product on the shelf? What did the store environment look like? That business shot up. The mystery shopping came down. And when you get into the sampling side of things, you could no longer go to Costco and get a demo. All that shut down. Well, our business shot up because we would have people either order something online and try it inside of their home to engage and get sampling going. So we ebbed and flowed pretty well. I think we netted out a little bit neutral to up. As opposed to downs. When I talk to my peers, they're like, wow, you actually weathered it pretty well.
Nice. How did you get into this business?
Yeah, so we came from P&G back in the day. So that's my corporate world, the US and Asia. Came to the US to do a shopper marketing, shopper research work within the Walmart vendor community. If you fast forward about 10 years, George, we're literally sitting around with our really cool iPhones. And this is pre-selfie. Okay. No front-facing camera. All right. No video unless you did a jailbreak on your phone. And it's hard for a lot of your listeners to say, what? I'm like, yeah, business people had BlackBerries. The cool kids had slider phones or flip phones. And maybe you had enough money to have a BlackBerry and an iPhone sitting beside of it. So in those pre-selfie days, we just had the iPhone 3S that came out. It was a rage, man. 2-megapixel camera of such a sweet phone. It was so good. And so we were sitting around with the phone, kind of Googling on our phones, because that was the cool way to do it, whether or not someone was using the technology to capture data or insights inside of a store or inside of a home. At that point in time, our brick and mortar boutique research firm was traveling all over the US, visiting homes, visiting people at retail, and trying to engage them to get insights. We said, gosh, with this phone, you can take a photo or do a video eventually, maybe we could use that technology, and no one was doing that. So if you're an entrepreneur listening, think of it in terms of, we are managing 5 LLCs, and we started working nights and weekends again to go launch the very first app in iTunes that paid you cash. All other apps at that time were badges. You could get points. We launched it and made cash. And from a business standpoint, if you were using the data, because of the metadata, the geolocation, we had really smart photos. We had really smart data. So that was primarily a tool for our research business. And George, I'm telling you, we looked around and said, gosh, I think we could scale this thing. I think it's more than a tool. I think it could be a standalone company. So fast forward a year, we get rid of the marketing company, 4 other LLCs, rolled the research underneath, and started driving Field Agent, and haven't looked back since.
Nice. Opportunity plus technology equals new company. So,
well, it is. And I tell people, again, if you're the entrepreneur wanting to start something, the piece that gave us confidence is that we knew we were solving a problem. And what was really important, that we were using technology to solve a problem. And that's when we knew we had something. It wasn't a fun hobby. It wasn't a fun gimmick. I mean, this really was going to revolutionize, A, how people engage with research and technology, but B, on the client side, they're saying, so I could just be sitting at my desk and not travel to a store, and you can tell me today what's adjacent to cream cheese in a Whole Foods, and you can tell me this afternoon. I said, yes, I can. It just blew people's minds. Now, remember, that's pre-selfie. I mean, George, I was literally showing people how to use an iPhone. They said, well, how are you going to train people to use the camera? Okay. The next question was, well, gosh, Rick, that's interesting, but when they take a picture on their phone, how are they going to upload it to a computer to send it to you?
Right.
And these were fair questions. Now today, you just like, that's just the dumbest, but it was a very fair question, because we were literally mailing digital cameras to people, and they would mail the digital cameras back. I mean, that was the world we were living in only 12 years ago.
It's easy to forget that. It's very
really
easy to forget that. Oh, nice. All right. So, and as you are reading the tea leaves and looking into the future with the benefit of your experience and intellect and everything else, how are you thinking about retail?
Yeah. So retail today, what we're starting to find is that you've got agency and major brick and mortar service providers. And if we've learned anything over the last 2 or 3 years, and if you followed, the company Terminus, Sanjay, the guy that created that, he's got a great book out called Move. But if you've learned anything, there's 3 primary issues that we're all trying to solve, really in any world, but especially in the tech world. It is, problem market fit. Then you get into product market fit, and then platform. Now, we are confident when I look at retail, people are trying to solve age-old problems, and we realize we have products to fix that problem, solve it. We look at our products, we're really, really comfortable with the products we have. But on the platform side of things, which kind of flips it back to the actual user of our data, they're no longer really wanting to have 3 meetings and 5 phone calls over 3 weeks to be able to purchase our product or purchase our service. So we're actually launching a standalone marketplace. It'll be called Plum, for like product-led marketplace. And people will be able to engage our products and services the same way you do Amazon. So instead of calling Rick to say, hey, Rick, I need to go get 100 ratings and reviews, or I need to understand research, they're going to click, answer a few questions, go to cart, check out, and they're finished. I mean, think about that. When you're on Amazon today and you're buying a package of batteries, you don't need 3 phone calls.
No.
You could go to Amazon today and spend $3,000 on a TV, and you didn't ask 2 salespeople to call you to tell you. You self-selected, you self-educated, 0 friction. You can buy a Tesla today. How many salespeople are you going to talk to?
Maybe
and
none.
You probably have friends that have purchased a home because of the market we're in today, sight unseen. They saw the video, they clicked, did everything on DocuSign, didn't even engage a bank, and they travel halfway around the world and go into the house and someone hands them the keys. Well, if that's true, when I look at the state of retail today, then why do we have brands and manufacturers have 3 meetings, 2 phone calls, and a statement of work over a course of 3 to 4 weeks to go execute a $500 project? Makes no sense at all. So we're revolutionizing again. We're kind of back in the old field agent days. We're revolutionizing the platform fit. Again, got the problem fit, we got the product fit, but the way people engage the platform is what we're focused on now. And I think you're going to see that explode at retail, where people need things on demand as quick as they can and frictionless. And the agencies of the world that don't understand that are going to struggle.
And is your ability to gain insight immediately on demand as people want it, do you view that as the benefit? And because when I go buy something on Amazon, my wife always said, well, did you read the reviews?
Right.
Is that really, is that kind of a big key to what you're doing?
Well, I think it's part of it. So think about the review aspect of things. We know that if you had 1 review and there was another product on Amazon that had 1,000 reviews or 500, and it's the exact same thing, pricing equal, which vendor are you going to buy from? You're going to buy from the one that has solid reviews, right? So it's no longer, if I had some reviews, it's okay. So that alone tells me that you need to be in the game. They need to be fresh. You need to have a minimum of, call it 50 to 100 or so. And obviously you'd like them to be as good as you can. So that's the review part of it. I think on the platform that we're building, now you're coming in saying, so I can buy ratings and reviews from 20 people, but how do I know that someone's good? I can buy research in a store. Who's really there to say that this is quality research? So what happens in our world, George, is that our brand means something. We know that our clients are saying, yeah, great quality, amazing data. So as we build this marketplace, they're like, well, gosh, if Field Agent has vetted this supplier and this third party coming in, and in our marketplace today, there'll be Field Agent products, but just like Amazon, we'll have other third parties selling on our marketplace. We've vetted them and we've engaged them. Well, why wouldn't you trust us as suggesting this third party? So we'll go down that ratings and review route, even within the marketplace, to say, yeah, we've vetted and these are really strong providers.
Nice. Makes all the sense in the world.
We hope so.
All right. So now tell me about being a hillbilly from Kentucky and now working with 100 millennials or Gen Zs or whatever they are.
You've got to bring home what really is in your gut and in your DNA. And so I'll start out with saying that if I've taught my team anything, number one is my tweetable quote would be, success or really being significant most often follows the path of depth, and breadth of relationships. In this really quick texting world, pushing around, I don't think that the Gen Z millennial world really values relationships the way they should. And this is even more so, George, in this post-COVID, I'm not going to come in the office and I'm going to work remote. That's fine. You can get work done. You can be a cog, but you are naive to think that the depth of relationships that your peers are having from either coming into the office, having coffee, engaging someone, I'm telling you, whether it's 3, 5, 10 years down the road, those people will be running the companies of tomorrow. Those people are going to get deals you're not going to get access to because of the depth and the breadth of their relationships. And I think it's really important to people listening today is that it might be different, but it doesn't go away. And that gets back to that hillbilly culture. I mean, I could call on friends and engage people from 40 years ago, and they would literally, as we would say, give me the shirt off their back. I mean, it's so important. And so I've tried to bring that into our world today to keep reminding people that relationships matter, and only you can say yes to a relationship and can engage others.
How are you trying to do that?
Yeah, I think within our world today, it is, we're a hybrid workforce coming in. So 3 days in, 2 days, wherever it may be. And so what we're engaging with our teams is to say, hey, when you're engaged, be all in and don't engage just for the work. Again, I'm not saying that we need to hang out and, have parties at work. That's not the point. But the point being is that when you're engaging someone else and you're walking down the hall and you see person B over there, well, make the effort to engage and see what they're working on, what it looks like. You kind of broaden what you're doing. And those 2 remote days, you can go sit in the same coffee shop or go sit in your apartment. Or what if you just engage in a different place? Go to a workspace and call up a couple of friends and go work together somewhere. So there's practical things we can do, because my encouragement to them is 3 to 5 years from now, the people that you were working with on those 2 off days working remote, you might find that friend A or B says, hey, I've got this great idea. Why don't you come work on it with me? And the only reason they did that isn't because you were smart, that they liked you. They did it because they had a relationship with you. And so it's just little things like that to have people do things differently, but not to lose sight of relationships.
I love it. I'm fond of saying and practicing that one of the greatest gifts that I can give somebody else or they can give to me is their 100% undivided attention. And these days, it's hard to do that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I think another thing along the same lines is as you're engaging today and against working with the millennial aspect of things, I could give you a couple of movie quotes, but there's one from a Jerry Maguire. Are you a Jerry Maguire fan?
Sure.
And you remember that the dad of Cush, Cush's dad said, man, my word is good as like an oak tree, man. I don't need a signature. And so another thing that I bring from my culture back in is that you need to let your yes be yes and your no be no. Don't live in the world of maybe. So I was, discipling this guy, and I was going to be meeting with him in the morning, and said, okay, we're going to get scheduled with some time. And he said, all right, when do you want to meet? I said, well, we can meet before work. We can do some lunch. He said, let's meet before work. I said, great. I said, what time do you want to meet? He said, let's meet at 7:30. I said, okay, we're going to meet at 7:30 at Base Camp Coffee. It's going to be fantastic. He said, great. I'm going to put you down as a definite maybe. I went, what's a definite? He said, well, if something else comes up, then, I'd move this, but, you're a definite maybe. I'm like, whoa. That's like the old school guy saying, I'm going to pencil you in so I can erase it. I'm like, no, either yes or no. He said, well, I'm saying yes, but it's a definite maybe. So that mindset has to be changed in the young people of today coming in, because they're always waiting for the next big thing. And it's always maybe, maybe, maybe. And so I just keep beating this drum saying, let your yes be yes, your no be no. The no sometimes is the best thing you can give to someone, because now they're not waiting and wasting their time thinking, well, maybe George is going to show up. Maybe Rick is going to show up, or maybe he's going to do this. Say no, or say, yes, not now. I'll do that for you, but it's going to be in a month or in 6 months. And so that yes, no mentality comes from where I grew up, which is, hey, you said you were going to do it. Your word is only so good. You better do it. And I think that's another kind of mountain thing that's really been driving me.
I love it. Let yes be yes and no be no. No definite maybes. That Base Camp Coffee sounds like a good spot, Rick.
It's a great spot. I was there this morning. It was great.
I love it. Well, Rick, that's a really good one, but the people are ready for your difference making tip. What do you have for them?
Yeah, I think the difference part is that regardless of whether you are talking about your personal life or you're looking at the business life, I think that setting a vision or a goal or seeing where you're going and creating rails is one of the healthiest things you can do. Rails allows you to have margin, and rails allows you to stay focused. And as an entrepreneur, especially, or even it's as a busy person, is that the worst thing you can do is chase shiny objects outside of those rails. Okay. It's just distracting. I'm just ebbing and flowing. So if I have these rails, I'm saying, listen, you can make them fairly broad and be completely creative within those rails. But if you start chasing things outside of that, you say, hey, I'm focused on A, but man, D and G and W looks fantastic. You're never going to be productive. Your comment, George, is that I want your undivided attention. Well, you can't, because I'm on my phone and I'm chasing these things. You're like, whoa. Come back in here. I think in your personal life, whether it's with your family, your kids, whether it's with your spouse, good friends, business, staying focused and driving is a really, really healthy way to live your life. And I'm not saying all shiny objects are bad, but the fact they use objects plural, it's not a healthy thing. You may get the one or two that comes in that says, gosh, I could have missed it. But in most cases, lack of focus is really, really detrimental to business and relationships, in Rick's opinion.
Well, I think that is great stuff. That definitely gets, come on. Rick, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people learn more about you? How can they engage with Field Agent?
Yes, I'm a LinkedIn guy, so you can just DM me there. If you're a friend of George's, you're a friend of this podcast, you'd be surprised. I may actually take that phone call, or engage a little bit. So just go on LinkedIn, DM me, let's connect, make that happen. From a business standpoint, if you're trying to make a little bit of extra cash, download our app. You'll make a few bucks this weekend, or try some really cool products. Field Agent, it's the orange with a white tie. You can't miss us. If you're a business wanting to engage our marketplace, you can go to plum.tech. That's, www.plum.tech, or you can learn more about our products at fieldagent.net. So those three simple places, LinkedIn, plum.tech, and fieldagent.net, you can find us.
Excellent. Well, if you enjoyed this as much as I did, show Rick your appreciation and share today's show with a friend who also appreciates good ideas. Find Rick on LinkedIn and ping him about whatever you're into. Go to, if you're interested in earning some extra money, download the Field Agent app and make that happen. And if you are a business owner interested in engaging, go to plum.tech. Is that plum.tech, Rick?
plum.tech, yes.
Excellent. And then you can also go to fieldagent.net to learn about everything else that they're working on.
You got it.
Thanks again, Rick.
I appreciate it. Look forward to the next time.
Likewise. And until next time, keep fighting the good fight. We are all in this together.